You think you're paying for the electricity itself. You're paying for something far more complex. Most of us assume electricity pricing is straightforward. Power plants generate it, it travels to your home, you get billed. The price we figure reflects the cost of fuel plus some margin. Simple. But here's the thing, that explanation falls apart the moment you actually look at a utility bill or notice your rates shift without warning. The accepted story goes like this. A coal plant or wind farm generates electricity. It moves through transmission lines, the big ones strung across states. Then it drops down through distribution networks into your neighborhood. Each step adds a small cost. Add them up, divide by the kilowatt hours sold, and you get the price per unit. Logical, tidy. But electricity doesn't work like a widget in a warehouse. It can't be stored in bulk. The moment you flip a switch, a power plant somewhere has to ramp up generation to match your demand. And that's where the real pricing machinery lies, not in the fuel cost, but in something called the wholesale market. In most U.S. regions, grid operators, like PJM Interconnection in the Northeast or CAISO in California, run auctions every 5 minutes. Power plants bid to supply the next chunk of electricity. The highest bid that clears wins. This means during peak hours when everyone's running air conditioning, that final plant needed to meet demand might cost 3 or 4 times what a coal plant costs at 2 a.m. You don't see that real-time auction price on your bill. Instead, your utility buys electricity in advance and smooths the cost into a monthly rate. But those wholesale price spikes, they ripple through. When natural gas plants are the marginal supplier and gas prices spike, your bill follows months later. Then there's transmission and distribution, the physical pipes. These aren't cheap. A single high-voltage line costs millions to build and maintain. Utilities invest billions in poles, wires, and substations that sit idle most of the time but must exist for the rare 4 p.m. summer afternoon when everyone's demand peaks simultaneously. The cost of that infrastructure gets recovered through what's called a fixed charge, a baseline fee you pay monthly, plus a per kilowatt-hour rate. Some utilities lean heavily on the fixed charge, others hide it in usage rates. This is where regulatory bodies enter the picture. State public utility commissions in every state decide whether a utility's proposed rates are just and reasonable. They review the company's costs, examine its investments, and set a target profit margin, typically around 9 to 10%. The utility files a rate case, presents evidence, and the commission holds hearings. It's bureaucratic, slow, and technical, but it's where your actual price gets determined. Here's what breaks the simple story. The commission can't predict future fuel costs or demand, so they use historical data. By the time rates change to reflect last year's actual costs, this year's conditions have already shifted. That lag is why some months feel cheaper, others expensive, even though your usage stayed the same. Renewable energy adds another layer. Solar and wind have zero fuel costs but require massive upfront capital. When a utility invests in a solar farm, the commission allows them to recover that through rates. But the timeline stretches decades. You're paying today for infrastructure that won't fully operate for months or years. So when you see your electricity bill, you're really seeing a blend. Real-time wholesale prices smoothed over months, infrastructure costs spread across decades, regulatory margins, and the utilities bet on future demand. It's not just fuel. It's generation, transmission, distribution, forecasting, and bureaucracy all baked in together. That's why your rate changes. That's why Texas costs less than California. That's why your summer bill spikes. Not because utilities are gouging you, though they are regulated to prevent that, but because electricity is the only major commodity that must be produced the instant it's consumed, and the infrastructure to deliver it must be built for a peak that lasts just a few hours a year. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you want to understand the hidden mechanics behind the prices you pay every day, subscribe. We uncover them every week. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.